This monthly market update has good news for buyers all through it. Interest rates are down. Hi folks, time once again for the monthly market update. Let's see what's happening in real estate in September, October. And of course, the first place we always check is mortgage rates for today. You'll notice that since October 1st, we've dropped off quite a bit and we've hit a new low at 6.17%. That's for conventional 30-year fixed mortgage loan. If we go to FHA, we're at 5.9%. We're under 6% for FHA loans, and VA loans should be right in the same area at 5.91%. So interest rates have dropped, but again, people are starting to get tense. If you looked at my last video about how the government shutdown impacts mortgage interest rates, we anticipate that this will be a short-term drop. And so you have to consider, is this the right time for you to make a move? So now it's time to take a look at the Arizona Multiple Listing Service, and this is the infographic provided by Rapid Stats Insider, and this is for the month of September. Remember, we're always a month behind because the October stats aren't in yet. We do see total sales were up month over month by 3.39% to 6,040. Total active were 24,156, also up 3.44%. New listings also up month over month. So pending contracts, however, were down. So while we had more listings, we had fewer sales or pending contracts in the works. Median sales price is up just 2.27% month over month, while the average sale price, and again, we don't like average sale prices because it can be skewed. If you have a lot of million-dollar properties, this could skew this. Median, again, is right exactly in the middle of the entire list of homes. We do see new list prices, new homes coming onto the market being at $475, but the sale price was at $450. Days on market stayed unchanged at 86 days on market. And this is a little bit different. If you have closed listings, the number will be smaller. If you have listings that are still open, it's up to over 120 over the last few months. And we see 4 months of supply. So at the current pace, if everything was going to sell, it would take 4 months to sell everything at the current pace. Now, because we're in Phoenix, I'm picking Maricopa County, and I deselect some of these cities that may be in the outliers. I even take out Tonopah. If you remember, Tonopah is where I did a land search for you, a live land search a couple videos ago, but it is sort of a little bit of a drive. So I want to stay close to the Phoenix area as much as I can. Considering the 27 cities that are surrounding Phoenix in Maricopa County, we take a look at what happened in September to give us an idea. So before we saw, all active listings were up about 3% month over month, and they're up over 20% from 12 months ago. But from the last 3 months and 6 months, they're down 7.5% to 8%. New listings, which are different from all listings, are up 7.4%. So like I said, we did have an increase of new listings coming into the market from August of 2025. They're down only 1% from 12 months ago, but they're way down from 6 months ago. And 6 months ago was the start of the spring selling season, so we can understand that. Sold listings, also we had a few more sold listings inside here, but from 3 months ago and 6 months ago, that's a really slow pace of sales. Although year over year, from 12 months ago, we're up 14%. So this year has been a little bit better than 2024, which was a little bit better than 2023. We do like to take a look at the average and median prices. Again, average prices can be skewed a little bit, so we will like to stick with median. We do see, like we saw in the infographic, that the median home prices were up a little bit month over month from August to September. So it's not like the Phoenix market is crashing. We are seeing people come to the market and we are seeing prices going up. Although if we look over the past year from January, these prices have declined and now we're finally seeing an uptick on. And this is just for price per square foot, not for the actual sale price, which we'll get to in just a little bit. And again, these are new listings, and new listings, people are very optimistic when they put their home on the market. So you'll see these rises here. You see a flatter line on active listings. By this time, people might have made adjustments to the price, and so we see a more stable environment here. So from the active listings, where we're about $270 per square foot, to the under contract, we're just a little bit below $270, but when we get to the actual sold price, we're at $260. So we do see concessions being given. We do see price reductions, price improvements to help sell those homes. When we look at months of supply, a couple things we want to look at. We have different levels. So 300 to 500, 500 to 700. These are where most of the sales occur. We do have them way up here in the 3 million. We have a few at 0 to 100,000, but there's not many of those left here in Phoenix, Arizona. So if we focus on these ones, we see that these people right here are getting 98.5% of their asking price, 98.2% of their asking price, and we have 3.3 months of supply, 3.15 months of supply. And then as we move up in price, we see those months of supply continue to grow. So those stay on the market longer, and we do see that over $3 million, they're getting less by almost 5% of what their asking price is. When we go to the other end as well, we see 10.2 months of supply. Now, this is a very small number. So if there's only a few houses in there, if they're really not in good shape, they may sit on the market for quite a while until an investor decides to come in and get it. Or if they're sticking it out and wanting that price, they could wait until they get someone to give them their actual price. And historically, what we see is this 3 to 500,000 level is where things move the fastest. The lowest months of supply will be in this range here, 3 to 500. And since we just saw that the median price tends to be 450 right now, it's skewed up to the higher end of this range. Now, if we take a look at the sold listing summary, find out what's happened just with sold properties, because that's the most important thing about the marketplace. Last 24 months, we can see this up and down on the average price. The median price, not as much. There are still peaks and valleys in here. Even during the spring selling season, we saw these numbers drop down, and then they're cresting up just a little bit for September and into the first part of October. So we do have October sales information in this chart. Median price per square foot at $263 month to date. Prior year is at $271, so we do see a drop in price per square foot. Cumulative days on market and average days on market. We see the average and the median. Slight drop in October on days on market. When we take a look at this, is important information here, and this shows sold to final and sold to original. So what was the final price of the home and what was the original price of the home? And here for all price ranges, we find again 95%, 95.25%, which is represented on our graph. People ask for $100, they get $95.25. Now if I go up and I skew this a little bit and I take out all these price ranges except the meat of the market and I refresh this report, we come back and see the sold to final at 99. So the final price they put in, this is after reductions, and then sold to original, it's still at 97%. So people are still getting a good amount of money for the homes that they're listing. And with the appreciation that occurred back during the pandemic times, if they bought prior to that, they're making quite a bit of money on their home. So now what's the supply versus demand? Now, like I mentioned, seasonal active listings for 2023, 2024, and 2025, they've been climbing every year. It's very high inventory. And when we move down into demand index, we see the demand index has come up to about 20. It was pegged down almost to the bottom a few months ago. We do see demand coming up just a little bit. These are seasonal sold listings. It shows our demand. Still not good for the market though. A lot of properties out there for sale, not a lot of buyers. And we see this continuing downward trend from this time period. This was March of 2022 when interest rates went up. We see this is a downward trend here for sure. And since we have high supply and low demand, that makes this a very strong buyer's market, showing high months of supply and low absorption rate. And I've covered absorption rate in the past, basically dividing the number of homes sold by the number on the market. And we can see this is, tailing a little bit downward. So absorption rate slowing down just a little bit. That means if you're a buyer and you're looking for a home right now, this is the time to get out there and take a look. Even though we saw prices go up a little bit in all of Maricopa County and the Phoenix area, you can bet you're going to have sellers that are wanting to make a deal with you. I have a new listing coming up in Verrado. Beautiful place, master plan community, a lot of amenities. There's a marketplace going in out there. Right by the White Tank Mountains, you get the sunset over the mountains. Just a great place. But I see houses out there that are on the market for 4 months, 5 months. I'm going to do my best to market this home and try to get it done in 30 days. That's my mark. That'll be successful. If I can get it done in 30 days, 4 times faster than the average house out there, I'll be happy with that. So once again, I'm going to take you to sold listing, but this time we're going to do it by price range just to show you and to emphasize what the market looks like out there. Now we can see sold listing by price range. Of course, that 3 to 500 was tops, 5 to 7 was next, and then it trailed down. You notice we have very few in this area, and we'll see that in just a minute. Same thing on the last 6 months. 3 to 5 done well, 5 to 7 not as good, but not as bad as some of the others. And when we look at the price ranges down here, 0 to 100K, there was 2 listings year to date. So you saw that 10 months of supply for the 0 to 100. There's only 2 out there, and they must be pretty bad. But I haven't seen them, so I can't tell you for sure. 1 to 2, we had 74 years year to date. So again, these are being winnowed out of the marketplace. Then we start getting into some reasonable places to live, where we have over 1,000, $200,000 to $300,000, and then we get into the meat of the market. 3 to 5, year to date we had 17,095 that have been sold, but last year at this time we had 16,557. So we're up almost 2%. Year over year up, actually 3.25%. Month over month from current year, we're also up from 980 to 999, just about 2%. And if we look at the 5 to 700, remember that's our second best seller, we had 9,741 sales, slightly up year over year by 1%. So we had 9,638 in 2024, and we had 9,741 in 2025. So pretty strong showing here by the $700 to $1 million homes. They're up 4% year over year from 49.16 to 51.14. And infographic wise, 3 to 500 is the orange. So you can see that's the preponderance of the sales in the marketplace right now. So again, this is telling the story of what's going on inside the marketplace and how prices, particularly prices per square foot, are sliding down just a little bit. But that doesn't tell us the whole story. We need to see what the sales prices are. So let's take a look at those now. All right, so now we're actually going to look at prices, and we're going to find out why price per square foot is important. We will see that our new list prices, as we saw in the infographic before, we're almost at $500,000 for our median price and $780,000 for the new list prices for average. But we moved down to the actual sales price. In September, we hit $480,000 for our median sales price and only $614,000 for our average price. Now, when we look at this, we go back 6 months ago, and we can see that we had the exact same price, $480,000 and $480,000. From that 6 month point, which was the spring selling season, we moved to $475,000. So we dropped. Then we dropped again 1 month ago to $460,000. Now we're back up to $480,000. And this is really considered to be a slow time for real estate yearly. In the annual cycles, the spring selling season is king, and now sales tend to be a little bit slower as we approach the holidays. So why did this price go up and match our spring selling season number? And this is where price per square foot becomes important. 6 months ago, when we were in March, we saw that for sold listings, the median price per square foot was just about $270. But today it's $260. That means that they're selling larger homes. The price at $480 has more square feet in it than back in March. So you can get a bigger home right now for the same price as during the hotter spring selling season, knowing that price per square foot has changed quite a bit. This monthly market update has good news for buyers all through it. Interest rates are down. Even though the price of a house is the same as it was 6 months ago, you're getting a larger home for the price, which means you're going to be able to find some in that 3 to 500 range that may fit your budget exactly. And remember, there's also new homes out there, and the new home builders are struggling to sell their spec homes. But right now in Phoenix, if you looked at my last monthly market updates, you've seen where interest rates would dip, then they shoot up, they dip, they shoot up, they dip, they shoot up. Right now they're dipping. So are we going to see a rebound? Remember, the longer the shutdown goes on, more likely we're going to see a rebound in those interest rates because people are going to get nervous. They're fleeing to bonds right now, but that's not going to last. So if you have any questions about it, any comments, any information you'd like me to cover in future videos, please leave me a comment below. And remember, always like and subscribe. Other than that, thanks for stopping by.